I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com and America's only Grandmaster Handicapper. On this video, we're going to talk about betting preseason football. As you know, the reason I've had so much success in this industry, and I've been in this industry since the mid-'80s, you remember me as JD of the ACC on the score phones long before Al Gore invented this internet, is I've been exploiting myths. Been basically a contrarian bettor, going against the public perception and making a ton of money from that. And there is perhaps no bigger myth in sports betting than those who say betting on preseason football is a crapshoot. Well, I'll tell you what that is. It's crap, but not a crapshoot. Remember our number one golden rule of beating the bookmaker. That is, the odds makers despise uncertainty. So does the square player. But the sharp player loves uncertainty. We exploit it. In betting the preseason, the advantage is definitely to you, the player. One of the main reasons is with all the competitiveness of the sports books in recent years, sports books are putting out their lines earlier and earlier and earlier. And the biggest dichotomy between information at the opening line and information by the time you can bet it is certainly in preseason NFL football. And there's a lot of very valuable intel out there. One of the things that we as handicappers try to do is find an edge. Are there going to be certain games where one team's going to be more motivated than the other? And that happens a lot more in preseason football. First of all, here is the basics of how we do our research. Google News, we love it. News.google.com. And for those of you not familiar, simply that searches all the online newspapers and all the online insights, and you can get great intel. For example, let's say the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Or for those of you who live in Pennsylvania, that would be the Eagles against the Steelers. All you do would be to go to Google News and enter your search term, Eagles, Steelers. Sometimes it works better if you put Eagles versus the Steelers, and all of a sudden you'll find all kinds of great online stories. Or sometimes you can go specifically to the best websites, such as Philly.com is the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Daily News, and you can get the Post-Gazette and the Tribune Review, go directly to their sites. That's a little bit better for streamlining. But you read the game stories and the previews of that, you will find out that it's not that uncommon for a coach to say, for example, we've got to really start the culture of winning here. We want to begin winning in the preseason. While other coaches will admit, I really want to take a look at my backups. I'm not going to have my starters out there. It's also not uncommon, especially when you have a new head coach, or more importantly, a new offensive or defensive coordinator, and in some cases it is the head coach who is truly the offensive or defensive coordinator, but when they're working on new schemes. A lot of times you will read directly. A coach will say something to the effect, hey, we're going to have more blitz packages tonight. We're going to use more 4 wideout sets, or maybe even mix in the hurry-up offense, which isn't common in the preseason. When that happens, that is a goldmine for the gambler. Now, devil's advocate, you may say, hold on, if a coach is going to come out and announce this, the opposing coach is going to be every bit as aware of it as the sharp player is going to be, right? That is true. The only thing is, preseason isn't about making adjustments. In fact, quite the opposite. Often when that happens, coaches, they're not going to make adjustments because they want to see how their players are going to react to the uncertain situation. So the truth is, anytime, well, virtually anytime, a coach says he's going to have much less vanilla schemes on offense and or defense, that is a gold mine for you, the sharp player, or, of course, for those of you professional gamblers who are clients of God's Tips at OffshoreInsiders.com. But there are other examples of what to look for. Some general rules of thumb. Once you're past the first week of the preseason, if a first or second unit and or the second unit, they get totally outplayed, usually those units will come out with a vengeance the next week, and almost always, but again, we like to corroborate this by reading the hometown newspapers and finding out what the coaches and players are saying. But if a first unit is totally outplayed, they will usually play much better the next week, and they'll usually play much longer. Likewise, if the first unit does extremely well one week, the next week they may play shorter. They're not going to come out with quite as much urgency. But the exact opposite is if a third and fourth unit is completely outplayed. Generally, that usually means a team does not have all that much depth, and we generally can expect for that to continue the next week. Some of the biggest myths in handicapping that you want to avoid, we call it the Joey Harrington syndrome. The square player, they love it. They love it when a team has a second string, even a third string quarterback, or in the case of, say, the Jets this year, Kellen Clemens, a former starter, is now battling for the number 3 position. They love it when backups have a bunch of starts under their belt. The truth is, the reason that former starters are now backups is because they had their chance and they proved that they aren't good quarterbacks. We love actually going against teams that have backup quarterbacks who are former starters who realistically have no chance of ever starting again in the NFL unless it's an injury or a suspension. For example, Charlie Batch. He's probably going to be the Steelers' opening day quarterback, but he'll never, ever go into a training camp listed as the number 1 quarterback. We would much rather have a team with a bunch of Dennis Dixons than a bunch of Charlie Batches. That is young quarterbacks with upsides rather than, as we said, the Joey Harrington syndrome or the David Carrs. Look, David Carr has proven he's not an NFL starting quarterback. Charlie Batch has proven he's not an NFL starting quarterback. Don't get impressed by backups who have started a lot of games in the NFL. There is a reason that they are now career backups. Well, guys, really, we do all the shortcuts for you at offshoreinsiders.com. Go to the articles section. We give you our notebook, our preseason primer, for free. For free. And you'll see the kind of information we have at offshoreinsiders.com. The key position battles, another big myth. I hear so many people say they love teams that have position battles, especially at the skill positions, quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. More news for you. If there's a big battle for starting quarterback, chances are they have no proven starting quarterback. If there's a big battle at wide receiver, chances are they have no proven wide receivers. More times than not, position battles are actually a sign of mediocrity. Look, there are guys out there who are fighting for their lives, who are fighting for their careers. So don't always look at the first and second units. The sharp player looks to see which teams truly have depth in the second string, the third string, and sometimes even the fourth string. But I don't want to ever hear it again. It is Balderdash, and we have a 25-year record of releasing picks to the public, going back to our Cadillac Club 900 days, that prove betting on the preseason is a gold mine for the sharp player. And again, it gets back to our golden rule. Uncertainty is the enemy of the odds maker and the square player, and it is an absolute godsend, no pun intended, for the sharp player.